So Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies have been floating these new ideas to basically put you in debt forever and work forever. That's basically what it boils down to. And what we're talking about is the 50-year mortgage. Yes, you heard that correctly, 50-year mortgage. Have a listen to this.
Housing costs are still out of reach. And another thing that your administration is trying to tackle, many Americans, the average age of first-time home buyers are now up to age 40, which is sad. The country you and I grew up in.
I inherited that. Look, you have to understand.
Right, but let me get to the question, though, because your housing director has proposed something that has enraged your MAGA friends, which is this 50-year mortgage idea. So a significant MAGA backlash, calling.
And they're even showing this on Fox News, right? If you do this 50-year mortgage, they're saying MAGA's got backlash to this thing. 50-year mortgage rate would add about 86% more interest over the life of loans. That was from Newsweek. And, basically they want you to be in debt forever. I mean, let's be honest here, 50-year mortgage. And the other thing that was funny is she even said, hey, first-time home buyers are age 40. So if the first time you buy a home is age 40 and you get a 50-year mortgage, you're going to work and pay this thing until you're 90. Is that the plan? And I want you to hear Trump's response to this stuff. It's absolutely bonkers that we're talking about this, but it does show who they are.
It a giveaway to the banks and simply prolonging the time it would take for Americans to own a home outright. Is that really a good idea?
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is 50, you pay something less from 30. That some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time. It's not like a big factor. It might help a little bit. But the problem was that Biden did this.
Okay, when in doubt, Biden this, Biden that, Biden, right? And it's interesting because this illustrates a couple things with Trump. And I think you already know this stuff, but one is he's completely out of touch with regular people. But it's not just Trump, it's him and his billionaire buddies, right? From their point of view, they're looking at their numbers like, hey, you know what? We need to maximize bank profits. We got to figure out a way to get more money from people. So how can we do that? Well, 50-year mortgage. What if we can do that? And then we can tell people in the marketing, your payments are lower by $300 a month or $400 a month or whatever, right? We're going to lower your payments. You can go out on TV and say, hey, everyone, look how awesome I am. I'm lowering your monthly payment. And that is a really good illustration of how these kind of people trick you. I mean, that's basically what it is, right? It's the slimy salesperson that basically tricks you. And the way that they, profit off of you is basically because you don't understand how money works. That's basically what it boils down to. And then they're incentivized by, hey, give as many loans, 50-year mortgage loans as you possibly can. And they'll change the whole mortgage industry to where, hey, everyone, if you give 50-year mortgages to people and get them to sign on the bottom line, they'll give you a bonus of $10,000 or whatever it ends up being. And you'll get this sort of great financial crisis kind of situation. And then the way the stuff has worked, they'll package up all of these 50-year mortgages, put them into some sort of, thing that you can sell and trade among your billionaire friends. And maybe the whole thing crashes, but then you'll just have the government and the tax, payers bail you out. And, I mean, it's just like that's how this game is played. And I know I laugh about it and make jokes, but sadly, this is real. And the crazy thing about this stuff is this is the kind of things that we should be talking about nonstop, just in practicality, because this has major impacts on your life. And I get it more than you know, because I look at this stuff every day. We have this conversation to where Trump and his buddies, they just want you to focus on, hey, look at this racist dog whistle today. Oh, look at this trans dog whistle that we're going to do. Oh my God, all these brown people and all these trans people are going to ruin your life. And so they'll get you focused on that. That's their game plan. Get people angry about that kind of stuff. And then they'll basically rob you blind by putting you in debt forever. And they're literally talking about it on TV. There is some pushback from MAGA, but then Trump was like, oh, it's no big deal. Oh, by the way, Biden, Biden's bad. Like, they distract you.
People saying they're anxious about the economy. Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had. We will have over $20 trillion come into our economy, and it's largely because of my election, but it's also largely because of tariffs. Even the tariff thing, it's such a disgrace. I'm watching them saying, well, no money would have to be paid back because it's not that much. It's trillions and trillions of dollars would have to be paid back.
If the Supreme Court rules against the tariffs.
It would be a disaster for our country. Now, will I do something? I'll figure something out because I do. That's what I do in life. I figure things out. But it's so, President Xi was.
Okay, and you can go in and watch the rest of the thing if you want. The interesting thing about it, though, is I think he actually believes the nonsense that he says. And there's always a debate on that. Does Trump really believe that we're getting trillions and trillions of dollars? Who knows? You can ask him. And then he's going to go on and on about magnets, and he'll talk about that. But this also illustrates how people who fall for this stuff, like, you're the one paying said tariffs. Like, you're supposedly getting rich. It's not foreign countries. Like, you are paying the tariffs. You're paying higher, when you shop at Temu or whatever to make it the most simplest thing you can, or you're buying whatever Alibaba thing or whatever, right? You're getting that stuff sent to your house. Like, you're going to pay more on this. Or you go shop on Amazon and you should be able to see it in the card. Like, they should show the tax if you're going to be buying something from another country, or it'll be blocked entirely. Like, any number of things. Like, your prices go up, and it's strange that Trump will maintain this lie. It's the same as the lie with Biden or whatever. But that's sort of this like crazy delusional land that we're in. And I just like to tell you guys and have the truth on this stuff and have honest conversations, because I feel like many times there's like this mass delusion in USA. So let me give you an example. The supposed richest dude in the world, Elon Musk, who's going to get his $1 trillion pay package. We just talked about this. Goes on and on all the time about his robot stuff. Listen, it sounds very much like Trump if you listen to it.
My prediction actually for humanoid robots is that ultimately there will be tens of billions. I think everyone will want to have their personal robot. You can think of it like as though you had your own personal C-3PO or R2-D2, but even better. Then who wouldn't want to have their own personal C-3PO, R2-D2? That would be pretty great.
And so if you can see the parallel between these two dudes, right? Musk is like, hey, I'm going to make tens and billions of robots. We're going to have so many robots. They're all going to have robots. And before he said, like, you're all going to have 5 robots or whatever. I guess it's just like total nonsense. And essentially both Musk and Trump, they're disconnected from regular people, which is one. 2, they're always selling you something. And it's always selling you some fantastical dream, and they throw out these big numbers. And frankly, there's an audience out there, or voter base, however you want to call these people, that don't understand anything. And it's sad. It's honestly really sad. And I just want to tell you the truth, it's on this stuff. And you might be around these kind of people that are like, oh, wow, Elon Musk told me we're going to get a Doge refund check. And now, Trump is telling me we're going to get a tariff refund check. Oh, they really care about me. And whilst they're also want me to be in debt forever with a 50-year mortgage and want me to buy 5 robots. I guess if any of this stuff ever makes any sense. But there's something that recently Cory Booker posted on his social media that really highlights life in the USA and why people are stuck in the system that they're in. And this is going to be a sensitive topic for many people in the USA. When you bring up this topic, suddenly people's mind just doesn't function for whatever reason. But I'm going to address it anyway because I want you to talk about it. And I think it's a real problem in USA. Listen to this.
So my daughter has reached middle school, and they had their active shooter drill the other day. And she came home because it's a little different than this year than it has been in previous years. Because now they have been instructed that if the active shooter makes it into their room, to take anything they can and throw it at the person if they make it to them in their hiding place. And my daughter's like, thankfully my water bottle is pretty heavy, so I could definitely knock a guy out. She's in 6th grade.
Tony was telling me the same stuff.
Tony said the same stuff?
Tony was the one that had that conversation with me. It was not yours.
It was Lily. Lily had that conversation with me.
So it's happening even at elementary school.
Oh. So that's a new rule all the way around. So you have to fight back.
If you're found. So you're just sitting there.
So my 1st grader and my 3rd grader are going to school and having to be taught how to try to defend themselves from somebody with a gun that comes into their classroom. That's the steps we've taken. That's the steps we've taken to solve this problem.
That's all America's willing to do.
That's all we're willing to do. You're right.
That's all we...
And that's America in a nutshell. If you can understand all the stuff put together, and I try to walk it through with you because I know that a lot of people, they won't get it. I'll be frank, I'm a little bit mean, but I know a lot of people won't get, like, how are these pieces connected? I don't get it, Chris. What are you talking about this for? And then they'll start talking about Second Amendment this, Second Amendment that, and it's like really hard to have conversations. But just think about this slowly, please. Just put it all together. If you never think about the big picture, okay? Let's say you just look at only tomorrow or maybe next week or maybe next month, right? You never plan anything. This is how you get cheated. How do you get cheated? You're looking to say, okay, I want to go get a new place to live. And you start looking around and they're just promoting to you monthly payments, really low, right? And you don't take time to like read through everything that you're signing up for a 50-year mortgage. Okay? So you don't think about the whole system. You think about just that little thing. Same thing with, say, the shooting situation, to where when I heard this today, I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't know this was the new thing, I guess, in schools, teaching elementary kids to throw stuff, right, at the shooter. And like, I guess she was saying her daughter's like, hey, I could throw my water bottle. That would knock him out. And that whole conversation is absolutely absurd. Guys, I get it. If you only think of that little thing, you think, okay, well, people are coming to my school to hurt me, therefore I need to throw stuff at them. Right? It's the same kind of small thinking as, well, I just need to lower my monthly payments and then therefore my life will be better, right? I just need to throw more water bottles and therefore my life will be better. This is why, guys, every day I try to show you the whole picture, right? You got to think about, okay, how can we really think beyond just tomorrow, beyond just next week, beyond just next month, and think about how can we create a system that benefits everyone. And as it turns out, if you look at the rest of the developed world, they're doing it. It's just USA where essentially everything is all about profits over people. That's the USA. And I wanted you to just put this together. Just let this stuff sink in, right? And one of the big things for me, and I just try to talk to you like a regular human being, because I think you don't have enough of it on YouTube. It's like people just screaming and yelling nonstop. This is just from a regular human being's perspective, okay? And for me, this shouldn't be a left or right issue whatsoever. For example, if you buy a product and the product doesn't work, you should have a right to, like, say, return said product. Hey, the thing doesn't work. I think that's a pretty basic thing, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. I think you should agree that. And if you don't agree, say, I want to buy products that don't work. I think that's great. I mean, maybe. And I doubt any regular person would ever say that. Why do I mention that? Is because this goes back to the whole thing, is to where when I say talk about, like, I want a system that protects you, talking about consumer protection. That could relate to bank loans, could relate to just being you protected at school, your kids don't get hurt, any number of things. And so that's why you have to talk about the whole system. But the way that, say, and I just mentioned consumer protection and something people get confused, whatever. It's hard. It's hard to have these conversations because, guys, I know how it is. I'll just say more than I understand, because I know how it is, because I see it out there on social media, where essentially I'll just be frank with you guys, the right-wing people kind of stuff, they'll just be screaming, yelling nonstop, and they just get you really, really angry at whatever the trans or racist dog whistles of the day, right? And then basically your life doesn't change. You just walk around angry nonstop, and you think, oh, well, if I just get rid of those other group of people, then suddenly my life will be better. But it's not going to be, because if you want real change, you got to think about how the whole system is essentially putting you in that situation to where you're only focused on the micro things that are actually hurting you and you don't see it, right? That's why I mentioned the mortgage thing, or you want to talk about the gun thing, where basically the USA is a system or society where people are just fighting against each other. And then our conversation is, okay, how can I throw more water bottles, right? Or how can I just stretch out my paycheck a little bit more so I can just get my monthly payment down? And that right there, like both those things together is why things don't get better in USA because people don't talk about the overall system enough. And also, too, people don't call out the liars like Elon Musk or Donald Trump when it's really obvious. It's really obvious to me, but it's not obvious to a lot of people. I actually see it in comments. And I'm always like, oh, my God, it is. And then also, to be fair, some comments are bots. And you can figure it out because usually it's what it is. And I do YouTube every day. I can just tell you the truth. You'll see the same exact comment, like 10 different times from different accounts. You're like, okay, that's definitely a bot. But at times you'll like, you look at one like, yeah, that's definitely a real person. They really are that naive, crazy, however you want to put it. And then it just reminds me like how important it is just to put out really what I consider to be sensible, basic, if you want to use the word common sense, you can, information out there. And I just want you to be thinking about how all these little things add up to basically distract people from how to make lives better for all of us. And let me just put it in real simple terms. How could life be better for everyone? So this, for example, let's say that your children are safe at school, which I think is a pretty fair thing to say that we should want. You want your children to be safe. I think it's pretty fair to say. And let's say, for example, you don't have to worry about going bankrupt from your healthcare costs, which I don't think anyone wants to go bankrupt from healthcare costs. I feel like I'm talking like a normal person here. And so just think about this. When you go to the restaurant, you go take an Uber, you go to the department store, whatever. And if the people who are helping you, right, customer service, if they're not under massive amount of stress nonstop because they're not worried about their kids and safety, they're not worried about their health care and the bills they got to pay, they're not worried about their parents and can't afford retirement, any number of things, then suddenly your customer service value goes up. Do you guys see what I'm getting at here? This is what it means to create a system that benefits all of us. Then we're not fighting each other. Then we're like, hey, life's much better. And it's really hard to explain if you've never seen it before for yourself, how all the little things add up to make life better for everyone, makes life better for all of us, right? We're not surrounded by a bunch of miserable people who are fighting each other nonstop. You're surrounded by people like, hey, you know what? You can actually live the life that makes sense and it is fair, which I don't expect everyone to, be able to buy 10 yachts if that's what you want. That's not going to happen. I'm just being frank with that. But in my opinion, like just if you have a full-time job and you show up to work, you do your thing, you shouldn't be worried about your personal safety or whether or not you're going to go bankrupt from healthcare. So I know I talk about a lot of the same stuff when we talk on this channel and, people get stuck on just one or two minute points, whatever, but that's fine. That's you, but I just want you to think about the whole system as a whole and how all these issues relate. So it is hard to change the system. Change isn't easy, but you got to keep going little by little by little. And the more that people figure this out, they'll realize, wow, this shouldn't be a left or right issue. This should be like an issue that everyone should care about, creating a life that benefits all of us. So that's my thoughts on this stuff. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.